Welcome to the Beyond Coaching Podcast. Today we've got legendary coach and weightlifter Michael Cohen. Michael, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Good, man. Well, awesome. We're really excited to chat with you. So I'd like to, first go ahead and maybe for the uneducated folks, tell us a little bit about your background in weightlifting. And I know we don't have an hour to go to talk about it. So give me the elevator pitch.
I'll give you the Cliff Note version. Born into the sport. My father was a top lifter for the United States, and there was no question what I was going to be. My father made sure that I had weights when I was in the crib in the late 50s. And when I walked down the beach with my father when I was 2, 3, he had weights with him. And when he stopped to talk to somebody, he handed them to me. I put them on my back and I started doing squats. I'd squat as long as he talked. So I was preparing myself. It was a lot of fun. I grew up in a weight room. My father owned a gym in Savannah, and I played all the sports. At 13, my father asked me if I wanted to travel to the National Junior Championships, which was 20 and under in Cleveland, Ohio. And so I said, yeah, absolutely. So we got on a plane, my first airplane, and we flew to Cleveland, and I competed there. I came in third, and I fell in love with the travel. I fell in love with doing something that my friends weren't doing. I mean, they were getting excited going across the town to play in a football game. I'm flying halfway across the United States. So from that moment on, everything that I was involved in stopped. It was all centered around weightlifting. At the age of 15, I made our junior world team, first junior world team in Marseille, France, the 148 pounder, 67.5 kilo. And then from there, I moved up. I traveled to the Olympic Training Center in 1979 to gear for the 80 Olympic team. I was fortunate enough to make the Olympic team in 1980 as an 82.5, 147 snatch, and 177 clean and jerk. The clean and jerk was a do or die. My father opened me with what I needed in the clean and jerk to make the Olympic team. Nothing more, nothing less. And so I went on my first attempt and I missed the clean. I went on my second attempt and I missed the clean. I mean, it wasn't even close. And then somehow it clicked. I went out there and made the clean and made the jerk. And then I had to wait while everybody else had a shot at, taking me off. And as it turned out, I was fortunate enough to make the team. So that was my Olympic team. I went on to compete, for many, many years afterwards. And in 1988, at the 88 trials, I got injured backstage warming up in a clean and jerk with a lift that was, I needed 185 to make the team again. And that's an everyday lift in the gym. My last warm up was 177. And I reached down, grabbed the bar, came off the ground and pinched a nerve in my back and basically put me down on the ground, and I was out. That was it. There was nothing I could do. I tried 3 times at the weight I needed to make the team, and it was just, I looked like an invalid trying to walk out on the platform. But so from that moment on, my father embraced me and said it's about time. And that moment, he suggested I go into coaching, which is something I did not want to do. I mean, I've already dedicated my life to the sport, and now I'm going to go back into it again and start all over from the very beginning. It's one thing to be way up high on the totem pole, and the next thing you know, you're down at the bottom of the totem pole. But that's exactly what I had to do, is I had to go back down. I was teaching at Jenkins High School, and they gave me a space and said that as long as I provided all the equipment, that they would allow me to do Olympic training and work with the teams there. And 4 kids became 8, 8 became 16. At the end of a couple of years, we had one of the most powerful teams in the United States. And that's how the whole Team Savannah organization started, was way back then. And from there, we were moved to an abandoned school cafeteria, and we stayed there for a couple of years. And during that period of time, we now had 3 athletes on the senior world team, female. We had athletes on most of the junior world team was ours. I'm flying all over the country with our athletes. I've been named I'm an assistant senior world coach. I mean, I got a chance to coach with my all-time favorite coach, Johnny Coffey, at several international events. And next thing you know, the Olympics is coming up, and I'm the event coordinator for Savannah for all the training for all the teams prior to the Olympics. They make the announcement that the women are going to be in the Olympics in 2000. We had a pretty good team of girls that were training with us here in Savannah. And 2 years later, they named me as the Olympic coach. So I became the Olympic head coach. I was already named the national coach for the United States several years back. And so in 2000, we sent the 4 female athletes to the Olympics, and great results, 1 gold, 1 bronze. Came back and continued on what I was doing. And in 2004, I returned as the Olympic head coach for women. Not quite as good production, but we had some injuries. And then in 2005 was my last official senior world head coaching position in Qatar. Again, great production. We won the medal, which we needed to do. And my wife, multiple national champion, world champion in powerlifting, world champion in master weightlifting, basically came down and said, look here, we got 4 children and you're going to spend more time at home. And so that was it, until my boys started traveling around the world, and I'm back on the scene again, but not in official capacity, working with my kids. And so that's the journey.
I guess you could sum it up. Wasn't really that much, huh?
I'm sorry?
Wasn't really that much then, huh?
No, I left out quite a bit.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I know the 2000 women's team is pretty historic too, because that was the first time women were in the Olympics.
Yeah, first time.
Tara Knott, and then was it Goad as well?
Yeah, Robin was there. Robin was a great story because she named her first child Sydney, and after the Olympics, and that was prior to them naming that as the Olympic venue. And so she came out of retirement. She actually came out of retirement to make that team. And cool. And I was very proud of her. She did really well. Just a gnat's away from winning the bronze medal, and she did good. Tara, rose to the occasion, and we had some great lifting out of her. Her coaching staff did a fantastic job with her, and the Bulgarian girl made a mistake, and that cost her the gold medal, and we got the gold medal. And then one of our girls, super heavyweight, went out there and won the bronze medal at 17 years old. And it was a good performance from us. We did very well. I was very happy with the results.
Nice. Yeah. Phenomenal.
That's epic. I mean, hey, I was only 4 years old at that time, so I don't remember much, but it sounds like it was a great experience.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised they had airplanes back then when you started weightlifting. I didn't realize. No, I'll stop busting you out. All right. Well, very cool, man. I appreciate the overview, Michael. One of the things I'd love to talk about too is how your coaching philosophy has evolved. We talked a lot about coaching philosophy on our call previously. How has it evolved over time, and where is it at today?
You talking about my personal or overview?
Let's go your personal, and then we can go overview too. I'd like to get into that stuff.
I believe that in teaching weightlifting to youngsters and to masters is individual based. Is everybody's built differently. You got some that have got great speed. You've got some that have got great flexibility. Some that don't have either. Some that are incredibly powerful. I mean, you get some that have got the lion, the heart of a lion, and some don't. I mean, you have to adapt to all those things, and trying to put all these people into one basket and teach one style, one methodology is a mistake. It's got to be individual based. Even when I had all the athletes that I had years ago, it was individual based in the gym. No one had anything written down. Everything was done by memory, and we just went at it. We trained hard. It was simple philosophy of you concentrate on what you're going to do. You're doing a snatch, you're doing a clean and jerk. That's what you need to concentrate on. Anything that's going to make you better in those 2 movements, we're going to concentrate. We're going to do that. If it does not transfer over, if what you're doing does not transfer, why are you doing it? I don't understand that philosophy. I've seen coaching programs that I swear to God, I don't recognize anything. We're spending a tremendous amount of time using 30, 35, 40% weights on exercise and movements that will not transfer. When the national teams, the world teams came into Savannah to train from 95 to 96 up to the Olympics, we're talking about Hungary and Poland and Korea. I mean, the Greeks. I mean, it was a massive amount of teams came in there. Do you know what they did? They trained. They snatched, they pulled, they squatted, they clean and jerked, and that's it. I mean, that's it. Yes, high intensity, high volume, but that was it. And they didn't do all the things. You watch American athletes come in there, and they're going to do 50% of the workout is going to be with no weight. And I think that's a major mistake. So when we train our athletes, we train them, and and work with them. And the idea is to make slow and steady improvement. Some athletes make faster improvement than others. That's just the way it is. But it is individual based. And we're going to do what it takes to get there. I'm not going to spend time and energy on movements that are not going to transfer. Don't transfer. Why are you doing it? It doesn't make any sense. So
Absolutely.
That's my general philosophy of coaching. I thoroughly enjoy it. Obviously, I've been doing it almost all my life. I'm 67. My first competition was when I was 4. So, my registration number with the federation is 238. I mean, so I've been around a long time. And so I've kind of got an idea of what works. I've been all over the world to every major training program in the world, and I've seen what they do. And I see what we do. And sometimes it works, sometimes it meshes, and sometimes it doesn't. But you talk to the great athletes that we have in the United States now, and they pretty much follow the same line. They snatch, clean, jerk, and pull. I mean, and squat. That's it. I watched an interview with one of our top female athletes a couple of weeks ago, and she blew she blew it out of the water when she told the interviewer that she trains 4 days a week, an hour and a half to 2 hours, and that's it. That's it. What about these 12 days a week and 12 times a week? And okay, no. The philosophy is very simple. Quality, not quantity. It's quality time in the weight room, not quantity. I don't want to hear you spending 3 or 4 hours in the weight room. That's not quality time. That's quantity.
So Max, it sounds like you have a quantity background then, based on
Yeah, my coach was Goff. You remember Steve?
Mm-hmm, I remember
So
Steve. Yeah.
we started, and he was all super far into the Bulgarian stuff by then, and we were squatting 2-3 times every workout every day, twice a day training. I mean, every lift was maximum, and I always felt like a lot of what you're saying, the individualization, like making it work for the person. My legs were always strong, but my back was really weak, so I never did enough. We never did any pulls. So I had no pulling strength, no power. And so it was like really easy to do parts of the training, but then others would just be so brutal. So I would be missing, dozens of lifts a day. And I would just have this like feeling like, hey, we're missing something in the training. It never changed, but it's funny to see that. I think years ago, it was like a lot of coaches would adopt whatever system was being published in, an article or something, or kind of whatever rumors were sort of spreading around. How much of that do you feel like has changed over the years now?
No,
Oh, no. Yeah, I was going to say, just where you see, like, it used to be everyone kind of looked at what everyone else did and pulled from that. But now, what do you see in the U.S. that's changed in the 50 years you've been doing this?
Internet.
Yeah.
The internet's changed everything. I mean, you go online, you take a look at the best male, best female athletes, whether American or whatever, and you want to emulate that and train like that. And the problem with that is it doesn't work. I mean, those are individuals that are doing what they're intended to do: powerful, strong, fast, coordinated, whatever the case may be. I mean, I used to watch an athlete very closely, and she was a sensation. And I don't care what the coach did, what philosophy or whatever else, that athlete was going to kick everybody's butt. It was just that type of athlete. That type of athlete didn't need to eat a certain amount of protein or carbohydrates a day. That child could eat grass and it wouldn't make any damn difference. They were going to explode. We spend too much time as Americans following everybody and watching everybody, and we're forgetting about that the person who's standing in front of you that you're trying to coach is not that person. And they've undergone life length of time training to get in that position where they can take it. I believe, like Max, your coach, that we train hard, but you rest harder. I mean, it's a Bulgarian philosophy, a Russian philosophy, but there's no drugs. You can't.
They forgot that part for Max. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy talk. You've got to rest the body. You got to rest your mind. You can't take that kind of pounding, and we don't. But we lift a lot harder than most people.
Here's a question for you. If you're, there's a lot of new coaches now. I feel like it's an easier sport to get into. It used to be that it was hard to get. Before CrossFit, there just wasn't a lot of equipment. Even with powerlifting, everything, no one was really doing this widespread, and there was interest. Let's say you meet a couple of new coaches that are just getting started. Like, what would you recommend, like a coach do to learn how to train and program? Because it is there's probably a lot of value in looking at what other people are doing when you're brand new. You want to get an idea like what's working, what's not working, but it could be overwhelming. So if you were a new coach starting today, how would you go about trying to educate yourself what to do?
For 30 plus years, I was a lead instructor for the USA Federation for teaching and coaching courses. And the number one question that coaches ask me when I did 20, 25 courses a year was exactly that. You know, what's the next step? I got my certificate right here. What do I do next? Because we don't, federation wise, we don't instruct how to set up a program, not lifting program, but just a gym. You know, where do we go to get the best equipment or the cheapest equipment? You know, what are the secrets of finding good used equipment and all the other things going on? Your venue that you're training, what is the guidelines? What are the rules there? What does the owners say? If you're with a school, which is most of our better programs come out of schools, what are their requirements? What are they looking for? That will dictate to you what you can do with your program. Some schools don't allow anybody into school during the summer. So that means 3 months you're not doing anything. And some schools will allow it, but it's a very small amount of time. So you've got to work that connection first. You got to have a place to train first. That's the most important thing. Then you go after your equipment. And once you've got those two, then you can start working with the kids coming in there. Our programming was very, very rudimentary, very, very simple in the beginning. I'm dealing in a space about 3,500 square feet. I got 8 platforms jammed into that weight room, no heat, no air conditioning. And so I get 60, 70, 100 kids coming into the gym to train that are all part of the weightlifting program, and they're everywhere. And so it's a very generic program, but it's a lot of flexibility in there because everybody's going to be, some people are going to be high that day and strong and powerful, and some people are going to be low. And so you've got to be able to figure all that out. If you've got a program that's got a very small number of kids, then you can really go down and work on these kids on technique and whatnot. When you don't have that, you can't do that. It's trial by fire. It's learning by fire. You're dealing with a large net to bring as many athletes in as you possibly can. You cannot spend a tremendous amount of time and energy on it. So when we took our first group of kids to the first junior nationals, we got our behind spanked. I mean, I had the program for 6 months. We went there. We took 10 guys, 10 kids who were all qualified to go there. No women at that time. And only one came back with a medal. The rest of them came in last across the board. And the response from a lot of the top coaches was, you know, they have terrible technique. They don't know what they're doing. And I agreed. I said, you're absolutely right. Wait till next year. And next year, they had a lot better technique.
Yeah.
We ended up with third. And of course, the next year after that, we whipped everybody. But
so when you take your program, so you're saying you think the best way to do it is you get a lot of people in there and trial by fire. That's the way I did it. Trial by fire might not be the right term, but the idea of like get a lot of people in front of you and you're going to learn kind of how to coach, how to do all these things. The program's not important, but it's not the be all end all. The most important thing is keeping something simple that's straightforward and building on that. So as athletes get better, let's say you got 50 or 100 kids coming through. We know that, 90 of them are probably going to get to a certain point and that's about it. They move on, whatever. Right. But there's that 10 that start to emerge and start to get better. Do you start then pulling them aside and start building more individual programming for them that's more advanced, kind of planned out, or do you kind of just keep that model going the whole time?
Nope. It's much more advanced. More advanced. Has to be. Right. As you get higher and higher in the classifications, then you're lifting more weights. You're training a little bit longer. You've got other things you've got to consider with their programming. So no question about it. When we took a look at bringing this thing in there, I knew just about what I would consider just about anything that you possibly know about international strategy, coaching, and whatnot. I've been around it. I served as an assistant coach on several trips where the assistant coaches had problems. Reading the board, my father taught me that in the damn 70s, and how to understand the strategy. That when I traveled overseas, I didn't sit in the stands. I was in the back room with the coaching staff, learning how to do that, learning the strategy, that kind of stuff. So my concern was I was only trained by one man, my father. And so the question is, do I continue with that philosophy, which those kids are not going to be able to take the pounding that I took? I mean, daddy beat the mess out of me. That was what it was all about. We call it now child abuse, but back then we called it love. So, but that's what it is. A quick side story on that. When my son Mikey, the oldest one, was born, my father embraced him as the first grandson. And when Mikey came the age to start training, I wanted my father to coach him because I wanted my father to experience the rush of coaching one more Olympian, just one more Olympian. That's all. And so Mikey's working with him, and Mikey's 13, 14 years old. He's doing really good. He's on the youth team. He's the world team, the junior world team, whatnot. And I don't like his training. It's not tough enough. It's not hard enough. And I went to my father after one of his workouts. I said, damn, Daddy, you're not training him like you train me. And he said, son, Mikey can't take what you took. There's no way. He would fall apart immediately. So I've got to bring him along a different way. He was able to recognize that real quick. And that's the secret of a great coach, is being able to recognize what works and what doesn't. Even though I wanted to push him harder, Daddy was real quick to say, he can't take it. I understand him better than you do. And he did. No question about it. He was absolutely right about it. And so that's caused me obviously to relook at all the things that I do with the kids that I work with, whether they're my personal kids or the kids that come in the gym to train with us. But everybody's got to be treated differently, Max. It's got to be that way. I mean, it's when you've got a gym full of people, that's tough to do. No question about it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I knew every athlete. I knew all their lifts. I could tell you right off the bat which ones did what, how much they did, what their best triples and doubles and singles and on all the lifts, because I really cared. But I realized, like you said, that 90%, 95% are going to be gone in a couple of years, and you're going to have a few left. And after you've been there long enough, you've got a lot of people left. And so, but that's developing from the ground up. That's taking kids that come in off the street that have no idea what Olympic lifting is. It's a little different now than it was in the 80s. That's for sure.
Yeah. You work with, I mean, you obviously do a lot of work with Masters and the Masters Federation you guys have. Can you describe just a little bit more about like what your philosophies are like now with people coming into the sport well past their most competitive years as they're maybe already a Masters when they start, or they're coming to you from that perspective. What do you do different with say like, someone who's 35, 40, 45 when they start?
It is really, I hate to use the word simple, but it is that I treat them the way I train. Okay. I can only train 3 days a week, about an hour at the most. I've got to rest my joints. If I walk in the gym and it doesn't feel good after warm up, then that's it. I'm done for the day. I'm going to give up a day, not give up a week. I'm going to give up a week, not a month. And so therefore a lot of flexibility. So the masters I work with, I always tell them, be patient and understand that things are going to go up and things are going to go down. And you've got the worst thing going against you, and that's called life. We have to live life. A junior athlete, a senior level athlete, weightlifting is life. That's their job. Hell, some of these guys are making big money off of weightlifting, no question about it. But a master athlete is a different ballgame. You got to work. You got to go to work to pay the bills and whatnot. So we've got to be smart about the way we train. We can't take a whole lot of chances. We've got to be real clever about how we train. We got to make sure that we work the positions that we're weak in. Like you said, Max, if you can't get the bar off the ground, which was my weakness, my bugaboo was that, then that puts everything in this. The difference is my father pushed me on deadlifts and clean pulls to overcome that. I just couldn't generate the power. Get it to my thighs, the weight's gone, but I couldn't get it to my thighs. Yeah. So you have to find those strengths and weaknesses of your master athletes. But the vast majority of people that I see when I do my weightlifting clinics, I've got one this weekend. I'm two this weekend. I'm gonna be there are 28 athletes I'm gonna be working with at two different locations, and the average age is 37 of those individuals. I think I've got two that are under 30. So you're seeing that more and more. And I believe in making sure that we have a good time, small jumps, lots of training, and don't take it too serious. You can't. You take it too serious, you're going to lose track of what's going on. You got to have fun. And a master, fun is one of the biggest reasons why Masters is going now, is because the competition is still there. You still want to do it, but you want to be healthy and you want to be safe and you want to have a good time.
What led you to focusing on masters weightlifting?
My father and me. You know, once you get to a certain age, you can't compete anymore. God knows I tried. I tried to hold on as long as I possibly could. You know, when I had the team in the early 90s, I was still lifting in the senior nationals to gain points for the team. And so as a 94 or 91, you know, I was top 5. And so that was top 5 points. That's a lot of points. So I was one of the lifters. So I would coach for 2 days and then I would lift. And sometimes I would coach the session before me and then lift. And, you know, it was tough, but you do whatever it is for the team to be more successful. And we needed the points. And so I held on. My last major event at the Nationals, I placed 3rd. That was back when they had something called the Sports Festival. If you remember the Sports Festival in your history, 4 teams, the East, North, South, and West. And the top 3 at the Nationals were automatically invited. And so I was ranked 5th or 6th at the Nationals, and I did a pretty good snatching. And then I went into the clean and jerk, and I needed 165 to have a shot, and I made it. And the 2 guys went out to bump me off and missed it, and I placed 3rd. So I got 12 athletes going to the Olympic Festival, and I'm the coach, and I'm also the lifter on the other team. So I mean, it was a crazy situation. And then I ended up winning the bronze medal there as well. So you got to do what you got to do to be successful, and I didn't care. I enjoyed it, but I held on to it real long, and then you know, my father was doing Olympic lifting in the Masters. I really enjoyed the socialization that they had, the camaraderie they had. You know, when you're lifting in competition, you're not pulling for your competitor to make the lift. Okay, you don't want that to happen. You want that lifter to miss that thing. But in Masters, the person that's going to be screaming the most for you support is the person that's going to lose if you make that lift. It is it's amazing. It really is. We walk on that platform and you step on that big 4x4 meter platform. Once you put your foot down, then immediately you are what you were when you were a top athlete. You know, the body is gone, but the mind, the heart is still there. You remember all the feedback you had. And then when you walk off the platform, then you realize, I'm just a master athlete and whatnot. But for a short period of time, you can relive the past. And I think that's something that I really love. You know, I enjoy the competition, not necessarily against people. I enjoy the competition against myself. Yeah. And I enjoy the camaraderie, and I enjoy the fellowship that I have with the other athletes. And that's what it's all about. You know, that's what Daddy pushed for when he ran the program for all those years. He wanted to expand it to give more people that option. And when I took the reins over in 2018, I told him that I was going to expand it to give more people opportunities and make it bigger, fancier, swankier than it was.
So are you seeing like people fresh into weightlifting coming in at like a master's level? Is it going in that direction? Okay.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah.
And how do you make it you know, consumable for like, you know, I run a powerlifting gym, obviously, but like, and when I talk to folks that are a little bit older, they're always scared. They're scared of getting hurt, injury, all that stuff. How do you make it so that, you know, you put those reservations at ease? Or like, are these people coming from CrossFit? Where are they coming from?
Believe it or not, for me, I'm seeing a lot of crossover from CrossFit. No question about that. CrossFit is fantastic. It's a great, you know, without CrossFit, USA Weightlifting would not be anywhere near what they are now. I mean, you take a look at our, you know, in the late 90s, early 2000, USA had 4,000 members? Yeah, 4,000 members. That's it. That included coaching. And now you're looking at 25 or 30,000. So I mean, it's all because of CrossFit. We certainly didn't do anything. It's CrossFit exposed people. The story I like to tell individuals all the time is I went on a trip last year, and I had a shirt on that said, you know, USA Masters Weightlifting. Okay, had a picture of a guy lifting on there, just a polo shirt like I wear. And I walked into a filling station to get gas, and the woman there, the cashier, checked me out, and she said, "You lift weights?" I said, "Well, I used to lift weights." She said, "What's your best snatch?" And so she knew. Now, if you take that same story and go back to the 80s, 90s, what's the question the woman's going to ask? How much can you bench?
Yeah.
So those questions are gone now because CrossFitters don't bench. And so you're seeing more people exposed to the sport, and more CrossFitters that have been in it for a while really like the fact that Olympic weightlifting is all the things they love minus the cardio. And so that's the big push for us. That's why the vast majority of people that I see when I travel around the country, and God knows I travel around the country 100 plus times a year, I'm going to do what I'm going to do this weekend. And the vast majority of people are almost all of them are CrossFit, and almost all of them are over 35 years old. And so I expose them even more to it.
What's interesting too is you look at like someone like Olivia Reeves, right? And if I'm not mistaken, I think her parents owned a CrossFit gym, and they were in it. So now you've got it's been enough time that this generation of people that got into CrossFit, they loved it. They started doing stuff. Their kids are now, I mean, she's the Olympic champion. It's like, it's kind of funny, right? Like you get enough people in and the talent's going to come out, it's going to emerge. And so it's kind of cool to see that not only has it grown the sport a ton, but also it's produced us, the best, maybe potentially the best female athlete we'll ever have, or that we've ever had. So it's pretty cool to see that whole cycle kind of come through, I mean, she's young, exactly. But still, yeah.
Without, USA Weightlifting ought to be just down on their knees, but praying to the CrossFit gods that they come out of this thing unscathed from all the problems they have. Because without them, USA Weightlifting is nothing. They've lost it. That's their feeder system. That's their whole exposure.
Getting High Rocks to add the snatch and clean and jerk, and then High Rocks to the next feeder system.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the discussion. That's for sure, because you need that. You need that exposure, and you need that. But again, what you need more than anything is grassroots, getting down in. Zach and I had this conversation last week, is that we don't do that in the United States. We are really good at going out and acquiring talent, not developing talent. And as long as the leadership uses that mantra, then I'm afraid we're just fighting over the same athletes. And that's a mistake.
How do you think the federation is shaping the acquiring pool versus the development pool? Like what?
They're solely behind it. They're solely behind it. Are you kidding me? I'll give you a good example. It used to be 20, 25, 30 years ago, if you wanted to be a coach in weightlifting, you took your first course, and then you took your second course. And then if everything went smooth, then you got to go to the Olympic Training Center to take your third course. And then if that went really well, then you could go into coaching internationally, and you started at the very bottom. And you were an assistant coach, unpaid position at a little local meet in Canada. And then once you started developing athletes and they started getting higher up, you started developing athletes, they got higher and higher up, then you might got an assistant job. You might become a head coach at one of those lower level events, and even assistant coach at a junior event. And then next thing you know, your athletes are doing even better. And then they move you to an assistant coach, unpaid, for USA senior world team. And that's the program you did. And you were in the program for, 6 or 7 years before you got your higher level certification. You ain't got to do that now. That's out. Are you kidding me? You got somebody that goes to a coaching course and takes a level 1 coaching course, and they realize, I could be an elite level coach. All I need is a top athlete that calls me coach. That's all I need. And so they find one. They boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage, money, whatever the hell it takes. And the next thing you know, an unknown person is now a top level coach. They've never coached anybody. Are you kidding me? That's what we've done. And coaches are not stupid. It is far easier to acquire than it is to develop. Let's be honest. That's an easy thing to do. That's easy. Developing stuff. That's why up until 2005, 2006, USA would not allow you to get credit for an athlete you acquired. You didn't get credit. That athlete had to go unattached for a year. Then you could start the process. And you never got credit until you took the athlete further than they were. And so that's the way they did. They threw that out because it's too hard to do that. It's very, very difficult to do that. Only a few coaches can do that. Well, then we need to do something about developing more coaches, not acquiring athletes. That's a mistake. That is a big mistake. We got to be careful with that.
I'd be interested to get your opinion on this too, because I know that like, so the more coaches, like obviously we know that the barrier to entry to be a coach is very low. But
Hmm.
also we know that the more people that are spreading the gospel of weightlifting or barbell sports, it's going to grow the
Correct.
sport. Like, what's the balance there, Max? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question because, on one side, you definitely want there to be incentive. I think a lot of times, just the type of people, like times change, obviously. So now it's like everyone wants things quicker. If you've got a lot of people that have to go through a 6, 7, 8 year, 10 year period to get to the next level, they might just drop out because there's no career advancement. And I think there's a definite benefit to allowing people to kind of progress in that. It's just like an athlete. If you have an athlete and they can do a local meet, but then from local meet to something bigger is, they got to double their total. There's that whole period there where things get tough, they get hard, they don't really want to do it and they leave. So I think there's a benefit to having a little more of a runway for people. But I do think that it does create a problem where the first thing people want to do is get those words behind their name so they can post about it. They can kind of get that accomplishment, even though it's like you said, it's just like, hey, this guy was super talented. They walked in the gym, they put my name down as their coach, and there it is. And I won't name names, but I'm sure Michael and I know of plenty of examples and some interesting scenarios of people being named to the, like, maybe the top coaching spot that have probably never even touched a barbell, simply because they're married to somebody. But it is problematic, but I think there's got to be a path for people to have a career in this where they can go from, hey, I'm a level 1, I'm working with people. There's another level that's not too far away, but I got to get to that, because it keeps you kind of chasing that carrot. I think a lot of people are going to it's a hard sport and it takes a long time and all this. And if there's no sense of like growth and moving and making some accomplishments, just like Michael said, like they kind of had that where you'd get some low level assignment, then another. That doesn't exist as much anymore, because it's like you coach somebody and they're going to put you on the team. And so you could go from literally yesterday, Zach, having no one, this weekend take a USAW course. Next weekend, somebody walks in the gym and they're totaling enough to qualify for Pan Ams, and you're headed to Pan Ams with less than, a few months of coaching experience or whatever.
And no international experience.
No international experience. You might have only coached at 2 meets, a local meet, a national meet, and then they're off to the world championships. So there's a definite problem there, I think, that needs to be sorted out. And more so for helping people, right? You want coaches to be more experienced, to be better, get them more of that. There's also, I think, a struggle where it becomes kind of a good old boys club, where it's like you get a lot of people that try to hold on to power that they have, and they get in and they're the ones getting assignments. They're the ones getting, put on these teams, and they kind of keep this thing, in a place where it's a smaller group of people getting to the top. So you need to have a little bit, in my opinion, of like open entry, but you got to work your way up. And anyone with merit and the work ethic is going to climb to that.
Well, I'll tell you guys, in all fairness, there is no move up. Where are you going to go? Where's a coach go? Can't be the Olympic coach. Can't be the world team coach. Can't be the assistant world team coach. Can't be the Pan Am Games team coach. Where do you move coaches up to? And there's the problem is there's no, you've got a professional coaching staff, 2 individuals, great job, but that means that no one else is going to be able to get to that level. Do you know who goes on those trips? The people that coach that athlete, which could be the husband or the girlfriend or the whatever else. Okay. And so there is no movement for coaches. None. Zero. Absolutely none. There's plenty of movements for the athletes, but not for the coaches. We don't have that. We don't allow our athletes to compete overseas, where we send new coaches out there to get that experience and whatnot. We don't do that. We keep this thing. They had a rule going back to 25 years that you were only allowed to coach 1 Olympic team a lifetime. That was it.
Wow.
I bucked the system when I got it twice, but that was the rare. Now, there is no discussion on it. We have 2 guys and they're going to go every single time, and that's it. So that means a generation of coaches will never have the opportunity to say what I say. I'm an Olympic coach 2 times. They will never say that. So for the last, I don't know, 12 years, 20 years, 12 years at least, you can't say that. You can say I went to the Olympics, but I didn't coach. I wasn't the official head of the team coach. So you're not. The same thing with the world team. Same thing with the world team. Same thing with the Pan Am Games team. You don't have that now. It's gone. That's unfortunate. I think that's a mistake. I think that's a real mistake, especially if you want to develop young coaches, because they want to see a way up. I mean, let's face it. You go out on the football field and you are a middle school coach, and you do that, and then you have aspirations to one day maybe be an assistant coach at a high school, and then boom, there you go. You worked up to it and you got it. And the next thing you know, said, man, I'd really like to be the head coach of a high school, and bam, you got it. And then after working and working and working, you get your first opportunity to be an assistant line coach at a D3 school, and you take it and you go there and you move your family over there and you work and you work and you work your craft. And next thing you know, you get an opportunity to go to D2 and then D1. And the next thing you know, you're an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator at D1. And the next thing you know, you're a head coach. How long do you think that takes?
That's a 30-year process.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why these coaches are not 19, 25, 30 years old. They've got some age on them. Why it takes time to do that. They have no problem in football accomplishing that. None. So, I like the hard work. When I came up, it was nothing was guaranteed. Produce the athletes, have the pedigree, you experience internationally and that type of thing with hundreds of international competitions. And a lot of the coaches, my peers in that time, had the same thing. I didn't do anything different. I did the same thing they did. We went on a lot of trips where we paid our own way, a lot of trips. I mean, I went on a lot of trips where I paid my way and I paid for my athlete's way because I didn't fund the full trip. I mean, that was just the way it was. If you really care and you really want to do something, that's the way you do it. But the philosophy has changed now. I mean, you got coaches who don't do that. They're not going to pay that price. They're certainly not going to pay that price, as in reach in their pocket and pull out the money to pay that. They're not going to do that.
So as we start to start to wrap up here, what I do want to talk a little bit more about the Masters stuff. So a lot of the coaches that Max has built a software coach Logic. We're talking to a lot of coaches trying to build their coaching team, their gyms, things like that. And I think that the Masters weightlifting side of things is sort of this untapped market or gold mine of like, hey, there's a lot to be done here. And maybe it's not as flashy or crazy as developing the next champion, the adult champion or whatever. But what advice would you give to a coach or weightlifting gym owner to build their Masters program? How can they go and find these athletes, recruit them, and help them succeed?
Masters is a very unique group of athletes. These are athletes that are over 30 and that have decided to get back into athletics, basically. Some of them were great athletes. Most of them were not. Your top master athletes are not your Olympians of 30 years ago. I mean, national championships, United States in Boise, we had 630 athletes. There was one Olympian that competed there. That was me. And so you don't have a whole lot of Olympians that when you retire from your sport, most of us are going to never want to touch the weight again, ever. I mean, not at all. They asked Michael Phelps if he ever swim again, maybe in the pool with the kids. That's it. We're not going to do it. You're not going to do that. You don't dedicated your life to it. But Masters is a whole different ball game, and it is untapped. These are the most loyal people you'll see. They understand that you're not doing it to become a glorified superstar coach with a giant Instagram following and making millions of dollars. They know that's not in the cards. You're not interested you're interested, but you're not spending your time, energy, and finances on athletes that have potential to represent the United States at the Olympics. So I'm not going after that anymore. I'm going after just about everybody. I mean, we had a special needs camp competition just last weekend here at our facility. Special needs blast. I had a fantastic time. It was a lot of encouragement, a lot of fun, a lot of heart. Those are kind of things that coaches love to see. And I mean, I got goosebumps when a little girl went out there and did a bench press with 20 kilos. I mean, it was just amazing to watch that. So you get that feeling of being around it like I have all my life. But the Masters is untapped. No question about it. I think, and in a lot of federations have gone after the masters to try to, for lack of better words, steal the organizations globally, not just in the United States, but globally. And masters are only interested in one thing, and that's masters athletes. We don't worry about all the other programs. You got a multi-million-dollar federation whose sole job it is to produce Olympians. That's not our responsibility. What we're going to deal with is we're going to deal with those athletes that the federation no longer cares for. We're not going to spend any money. We're not going to spend any time. We're not going to spend any coaching. We're not going to spend any medical. We're not going to spend any camps. We're not going to outfit. We're not going to do anything for this group of athletes. We want their money and just shut the hell up and leave us alone. We want those because we're masters for masters. And that's what it's all about. Everybody on the board is pro bono. There's no employees. Everything is pro bono. Everything. So we run a major federation, one of the largest in the world, and $35,000 annual budget. That's it, man. We do what we need to do to be successful.
That's impressive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a budget that small to what you're doing. And just a quick, you were telling me off air, you're going to have 1,000 lifters in Vegas.
1,026, I think it is. Yeah.
That is huge. And compare that, just for everyone listening, USAW nationals, like the national level meet, is, I'm going to say, probably like 400-ish, 500-ish now. It's been bigger, been smaller, but that shows you the scope of what masters are doing. And that's, and there's essentially three masters national level meets you could attend in a year. And this one's going to have 1,000, which is super impressive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll give you a better stat than that. This is really blow your mind. USA Masters has 1,200 registered athletes. 540 are competing at the World Championships.
Wow.
We had 650 something at our nationals. So we have damn near close to 50% participation at these events. That tells you that it is a group of individuals that really want to compete and want to feel that. They want to be part of something that they know is going to be spectacular, and they know that they come first, that everything we do is centered around them. It really
That's
is.
awesome.
Because like I said, you got a multi-million-dollar federation whose sole job is to take care of everybody else.
Yep.
And the one thing that irks me, and I talked to Zach about this, really irks me, is when I hear people say that we treat masters the same as we treat all of our athletes. And that is a bona fide lie of epic proportion. You don't pay for camps for masters. You got camps for everything. Juniors, seniors, youth, you name it, they got camps. They got a camp for masters, they charge you $1,700, $2,000 for. You got no outfitting for the athletes. None, zero. None. You got no support from coaching. In other words, you don't have a coach you pay to go over there to coach the athletes. None. You got no medical support. We have to pay for the medical support. None of that. And that's ridiculous. You don't treat masters the same. Masters is the golden goose. They're going to give you their money and you ain't got to do anything because they're going to be happy as hell. That's not what this federation is about. This federation is about giving everybody an opportunity to compete and encouraging them to compete.
So as we wrap up here, Michael, what support are you lending out there for lifters, coaches? Where can they find you? What are you offering right now? What's going on with you?
Michael Cohen, Olympic Weightlifting, Facebook, Cohen_weightlifting for Instagram. Believe it or not, when I travel, Zach, I give people my business card. It's got my personal telephone number in it. And the reason why is people want to get in touch with you, and masters are not really good at all the technologies. I'm good at it because my wife is good at it, but it's a telephone number. You can pick up the phone and call me. You're not going to get an answering service. You talk right to the person. It's something that's very unusual. On my business cards for USA Masters that I travel around with, in there is my personal email, my personal cell phone. There it is right there. You want me, you can contact. You ain't got to talk to a secretary. I'll talk to a secretary who's going to put you on hold for 2 or 3 weeks. It's instant. Cohen Weightlifting at AOL.com. I use the old school. Cohen Weightlifting at AOL.com. And we answer it and we go there. We try to help everybody. And we're getting closer to the Worlds. We've got a large number of athletes that are traveling there. Their coaches are not going to go. and the coaches can't go because some federations will not allow them to do that. They will hold them back. They will threaten them. They will do anything in their power to stop them. So we will get probably 60 to 80 requests from master athletes to have a coach there to coach them. And we will respond and be there to help them. Every single one of them, you know,
Definitely.
whether it's me or one of the other top coaches. So it's you know, that's what it's all about, guys. That's what it's all about. You know,
100%.
you spend all that time and energy and money, and then your coach can't make the trip for whatever reason. I mean, it's not fair. Not fair.
Well, hey,
Put
I
your
really
money
appreciate
where
your
your
time
mouth is.
today. Yeah,
Yep.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate the time. I think this is an awesome episode. I'm really looking forward to it. You know, thanks for being on.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you very much for having me.
Yep. Good luck with the event.